how you feeling about these FFP charges? Obviously, was it one of your ex-finance people come out and said something, and then the head of UEFA came out and said that he believes you're guilty or something or another, and there seems to be people coming out the woodwork everywhere putting their two pence in.
Yeah. No, I think that UEFA one was a bit like overblown. I think people, like at the end of the day, what was he supposed to say?
Yeah.
No, we didn't believe City were not guilty. So, like, because then people have said, well, why did you charge him then? Obviously, he's got to back the fact that he brought the charges. For me, my personal opinion is I don't think we will be found guilty of the FFP breaches because what they're alleging is fraud. So what you need to understand is for them to say that we're guilty, they've got to say that our board, the vice president of the UAE, board members of the Etihad Airways, board members of Etisalat are all in on this corruption fraud. To do that, they're going to need some pretty strong evidence. You can't just do that off a whim. And if you look at the case that went to CAS when UEFA done it, the case was thrown out. The case was completely thrown out by CAS. CAS said, you've got no evidence. I think if you actually go on the CAS document and control F and type in no evidence, it comes up like 18, 20 times. I'm not, by the way, people say to me, do you think you're innocent or guilty? I don't know. I've never once said my club is innocent. I've never once said my club is guilty. I have no idea. I wasn't in the boardrooms when the deals were being done. I've not seen what happened. And I think anyone that says for sure, in my opinion, you're guilty or not guilty, is just chatting nonsense because no one truly knows. Whether I think we'll be found guilty or not, that's a different question. And I think we won't be found guilty. I think we'll be found innocent because I don't think they're going to have the evidence that they need, which is actually why a couple of people in the press have said they're quite surprised at how strongly they've gone, because it's like if you do a crime, do you know what I mean? If you just rob like some sweets from the shop, they're going to need less evidence to prosecute you compared to like a bloody murder or something. It's serious stuff. So I don't think we'll be found guilty because I don't think they're going to have the evidence that they're going to need. Because, like I say, for them to say that they're guilty, it's a criminal offence. What they're alleging is fraud. That means you've broken the I think it's some sort of accounting law in the UK, because that means that the accounts that you've submitted to a company's house are wrong because you've said revenue has come from sponsors and it's not, it's come from equity funding. So that means you've fraudulently misrepresented your accounts. That's a crime. Do you know what I mean? That means our board members are up for a criminal prosecution if they say they're guilty. So I just don't think, I'd be surprised. A guy who used to work at Manchester City before the takeover, so he didn't work there when this new owner was here, but he said the same thing. He said he doesn't think they're going to be found guilty because to say they're guilty, you are basically saying all these members of all these different companies are all guilty of fraud. And that's going to be, and there's only 3 people on the commission, 2 solicitors and a finance director. And they're going to know, right? They're already going to know, these people who are going to make this decision, they're going to know that if we're going to find these guilty, we've got to make sure we have some mad evidence. And if they've got the evidence, fair. We'll get found guilty. We'll get thrown out the league. We'll have to come up through the divisions or whatever happens. We'll take it on the chin and it is what it is. You've got to take your punishment. But for them to do that, they're going to need some serious evidence that UEFA didn't have when it went to CAS, as proved in the CAS document. Are the Premier League going to have